One of the wonderful things about Vulcana Symposium, thanks to all the team here, is that we have an opportunity to just have a quick interaction with some of the speakers here, and it's an open floor. I would just ask that any questions that are asked respectfully. There are some difficult topics that are covered sometimes here, but it's good to talk about them and have this forum where we can speak about them. And one question per person to begin with, please, just in case there are several people who would like to ask a question, so that they have an opportunity to do so. Okay? Okay. Would anybody like to pose a question? Yes, thanks, Tom. If you'd like to just say your name first and where you're from, and question, thanks.
I'm Tom from the UK, and I'm here with GeoTenerife on the Volcano Camp. My question is for Jose. So you mentioned, obviously, the gravimetric monitoring is very important for El Hierro, but it's much smaller network than the other monitoring that you mentioned. So there's only, what, 2 locations. If you had to prioritize a new location, like where would you pick in El Hierro to get a better, the best data for future situations?
First, thank you for your question. Yes, indeed, it's a good question, because in my opinion, what we should do is a gravity network for the complete Canary archipelago, which there is a lack of this kind of measurements. For us, for scientists, we must do a big effort with research projects to get money to do this kind of observations with these instruments, which are very expensive. I show you 2 kind of instruments with the cost is about 150,000 euros each one. But for me, presently, I think that we must think in what is called recently hybrid gravimetry, combining time-lapse gravimetry and also permanent stations for continuous recording. And in the best, presently, the best is with superconducting gravimeters, because are very much more precise than the relative instruments that I show you. We can reach up to 1 order of magnitude in the precision. In this case, I show you examples for a submarine eruption, and having you know, in gravimetry, to detect this kind of phenomenon, there is a very a component which depends on the distance to the source. But with this kind of gravimeter superconducting, I think we can get the best, much more resolution. But for instance, in the case of El Hierro, I will install 3 or 4 places. With only 1 is not enough. Because, you know, in case of El Hierro, at the beginning when start the seismic unrest to the north, nobody knows where the eruption could take place. So we move the instrument from one side to another side, and so on. So, for instance, in case of El Hierro, because this kind of structure is very simple, I install 1 in each rift, for instance. In case of El Teide, in Tenerife, more complicated, but I think it's the best to install this kind of meters, but at least 3, 4 per island, minimum.
Jose, thank you very much indeed. We have a question over here, excuse me. I always wear trainers to Vulcana for obvious reasons. If you, in English or Español, English or Spanish as you like, and your name first, please.
Thank you. This is a question from Dr. Juana Vegas. Here, Paco Gobates from the volcanic speleology team in Tahoe Gate eruption. I'll condense in English the follow question in few seconds, but now in Spanish, para que te dé tiempo de asumir el riesgo personal en la respuesta. Me gustaría preguntarte, Juana, permíteme el tuteo, ¿qué piensas de la destrucción del nuevo patrimonio geológico que ha creado el volcán Tajogaite en La Palma, que incluye un interesante delta lábico de la interfaz marítimo-terrestre y que además está perpetrado por nuestras propias autoridades y además basándose en una ley que han creado al efecto, ¿no? In English now, what do you think about the extraction of the Tajogaite volcanic flow, lava flow, make it perpetrated by our own authorities in La Palma Island? And thank you, and sorry.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, Paco, for this question. I'm going to ask first, ¿se está grabando esta respuesta? ¿Se está emitiendo en directo? Sí, ¿verdad? Voy a ser muy polite. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to be very, very polite with my reply. For me, it's my first fall. I'm very, very sad with this situation. Just from during the eruption, we were working on the new geoheritage and how to the people and the scientists who are working on this new volcano, how can we act just to preserve the best outcrops of this eruption, just for science after the eruption. But we made very fast the maps for how are the best outcrops of this volcano, but unfortunately, everything was worst. First, the social pressure. All the people in the island were very afraid about the affected people. Of course, scientists, we were very afraid for them too. And it was impairing a silent law. Nobody is saying nothing because just to take care about the affected people. And in this situation, it was coming the recovery of the territory affected by the volcano. The maps were done, the scientific reports were done, the politics know where are the best outcrops of the volcano, but the money is money, business is business, and the law don't protect the volcano. And now is the biggest illegal quarry in Spain. This is the reality. Everything is permitted, everything, and disappear now, today, after 3 years, only 3.5 years, disappear some of the most important structures of the volcano, for example, related with some very singular in this eruption that we have the opportunity to see, is the eruption centers disconnected from the main cone. This is unique in Canary Islands, and now they are destroyed. More of the 80% of them. But by roads that nobody knows where they are, these roads. People is, okay, the floor is there, but you can do a house in a floor of about 200 degrees now. Nobody, but the reality is that the trucks are everywhere and they are destroying everything. Finally, after these 3 years, I am convinced that we only can protect the main cone because it is included in the natural park. I am sure that if the cone is outside of the natural park, they decided just to make another quarry just to remove everything. For me, I think that is an error. We lost a lot of money just removing things with another sense. With this money, we have the opportunity to recover and in a safety place and to move the population outside the volcano and to have the best place in the world, the best safe place in the world just for science and for another opportunities for sustainable development. But nobody believes in this model, and the reality is that you can go to the La Palma Island and to see the reality. It's very, very sad. Thank you.
Thank you, Juana. This is obviously a very difficult topic, and everybody here understands that 4 years on, there are still a lot of people who are having a very tough time in La Palma. But Juana is also thinking more long-term in the future of those families, but also of their children, and how that island is going to be sustainable going forwards. And having that incredible volcano and unique structures was something that perhaps deserved a bit of more reflection in the mix. I know there's a lot of pressure, and if I had lost everything in that eruption, I'm sure I would have had very strong views on that issue as well, which is why conversation, airing these topics and being brave about speaking about them, I think is really important, so that we take the best decisions, not just for today, but for future generations as well. Jaime.
Jaime Coello, telefotógrafo, Juan Coello Fundación. I just want to ask you, trying to make a positive point about this very hard question. Thank you very much for your brave answer. I just want to ask you, what do you think, which is the best, knowing how difficult it is to protect the geoheritage in this country, especially in Canary Islands, talking about marine geoheritage specifically, what do you think is the best way of approaching this topic? We have the figure of marine protect area that is in the law of natural heritage of 2007. We have that way that is, I think, hasn't been explored much. But knowing how difficult it is to protect a geosite, especially after outside an environmental protected area, do you think it's a good way of protecting these marine geosites, or do you have any other ideas? I think this figure is good because it depends on the national government, so it could be a good way. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaime, for this question, and thank you to the Foundation just for the support for recognize the marine geoheritage. In the case of the marine geoheritage, just for two protected areas, we have several situations. Just from now, to the Spanish legislation and the regional legislation is just recognizing marine areas, but their biodiversity value mainly. It's true. There are very hot spot of biodiversity here in the Canary Islands, but nobody take care of the geological values of these places, because many of these unique ecosystem, are here due to the geology, the special geology of the environment. So first of all, is just to, in the law, recognize the geological value of these places. And now we have this moment on the table, the declaration of the National Park of just at the south of El Hierro. And 5 months ago, from the Spanish Ministry of the Science, sent me a report just for review, this template for the National Park. And in a first read, there is nobody about the geology and the volcano. It's a volcano just in this national park that we are protecting. And so we have to make a report just highlighting the value of the Tagoro volcano in this national park and compare with all the geology of the other archipelago and especially in the El Hierro Island. So now the scientists and the people who are working at the research centers, we have the opportunity just to highlight this one. This could be at the beginning of the processes of law protection. So we have to have a big pressure, just recognition, because after the law is approved, the people and the administration only read no more. And things that is not in the law, nobody take it about them. So this is the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Juana. Any more questions from the floor over here? No? Creo que hay falta de café. I think we're going to break for coffee. Okay, just to say thank you very much to Evie. I'm sorry she had to go, and to our panel. We're going to break for coffee for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and then we'll be back up here. Muchas gracias. Gracias.